The last bell at Ravenwood High. Ravenwood High stood at the edge of town like a scar no one wanted to remember. It had been shut down since 1985, after a fire killed a dozen students during a late-night detention. No one ever rebuilt it, and the blackened halls remained a reminder of tragedy. For kids in town, it became a ritual, a dare. Go inside Ravenwood High at night, and if you stay until the midnight bell tolls, you're officially fearless. Problem was, no one ever made it to midnight. On a chilly October evening, 5 seniors gathered at the rusted gates. Maya, the fearless leader. Ethan, her boyfriend, who hid his fear behind sarcasm. Jess, the quiet one with an interest in ghost stories. Caleb, the class clown who thought everything was a joke. And Ryan, the one filming everything on his phone for TikTok. "This place is nothing but burned walls and rats," Caleb laughed. "We'll make it to midnight and prove the stories are fake," Jess whispered. "People say you can still hear the fire alarm echoing at night, and if you stay too long, the dead students notice you." Maya smirked. "Good. Let them. Now are we going in or are we chickens?" The gate creaked open. As they stepped inside, the air turned heavy, like the building itself was holding its breath. The graffiti on the walls seemed fresh, though no one had been inside for years. Ryan kept recording, muttering, "This is gonna blow up online." The deeper they went, the colder it became. A faint smell of smoke lingered in the hallways, though the fire had happened decades ago. Lockers were still dented, charred, and some had melted shut. Ethan nudged one open. It screeched painfully. Inside was a single textbook, half burned, with someone's handwriting scorched into the page. "The bell will ring for you too." Ryan zoomed in on it. "Okay, that's creepy as hell, probably staged." But Jess wasn't so sure. She swore she heard footsteps echoing behind them, even though no one else was there. When they reached the old gym, they found the scorched remains of a bell rope hanging from the ceiling. It swung slightly, though no wind touched it. Maya smiled, trying to shake off the tension. "We wait here till midnight, that's the dare." But as the gym doors slammed shut on their own, trapping them inside, even Caleb stopped laughing. And then, faintly, from nowhere, came the sound of a school bell, long, hollow, and wrong. It wasn't midnight yet. The bell's echo rolled through the gym, metallic and endless, though the clock on Ryan's phone said it was only 10:37 p.m. "Nope," Ethan muttered, pulling at the doors. They didn't budge. He slammed his shoulder against them, solid as if welded shut. Caleb chuckled nervously. "Okay, probably some prank setup, like hidden speakers, magnets on the doors, it's all fake." But Jess shook her head, her voice trembling. "No one's been in here for years. The whole building's condemned. Who would set this up?" Ryan kept recording, whispering, like he was narrating a found-footage horror movie. "Okay guys, we're trapped in Ravenwood High. If this goes viral, just remember me when I'm famous." Maya rolled her eyes, but her hands shook. She spotted an open hallway leading out of the gym. "Come on, there's another way." The group walked through the dark corridor. Their phone flashlights bounced across broken trophies, burned bulletin boards, and lockers dented from heat. Every few steps, they heard faint tapping, as if someone was walking just out of sight. "Hello?" Maya called out, forcing courage into her voice. "Who's there?" Silence. Then, a whisper. It sounded like a chorus of voices layered over one another, words stretched and twisted. "Stay for class." Jess gasped. "You guys heard that, right? Please tell me you heard that." But before anyone could answer, Ryan's camera light flickered, catching something at the far end of the hallway. A figure. Small. Motionless. It looked like a girl, her dress scorched, her hair matted with soot. She stood facing the lockers, not moving, not breathing. Caleb laughed nervously. "It's just some squatter messing with us." But when Maya stepped closer, the girl slowly turned her head. Half her face was burned away. Skin melted, eye socket empty, jaw exposed. Jess screamed, stumbling back. Ethan pulled Maya away, but the girl opened her mouth, her voice crackling like fire. "You don't belong here." Then in a blink, she vanished. Ryan cursed, lowering his phone. "Tell me you all saw that. Please tell me that was real." Before anyone could speak, the fire alarm blared to life, deafening. The red light strobed across the blackened walls, and with each flash, more burned figures appeared. Students charred and broken, standing silently in the hall. Their mouths opened in unison, releasing a low, hollow scream that rattled the air. Jess clutched her ears, shaking. "We have to get out. We have to get out now." The group ran, stumbling through the hallways as the sound of the alarm chased them. Ryan kept recording, his footage jerking wildly. When they burst into the cafeteria, the smell of smoke was suffocating. On the blackened wall, written in ash, were the words, "Detention, Room 6, midnight." And below it, fresh and wet, was a list of names, all 5 of theirs. For a long moment, no one moved. The names smeared on the cafeteria wall dripped down like fresh blood, though the air smelled only of burnt paper and ash. Jess whispered, That wasn't there before. It can't be." Ryan's voice cracked. "It wrote our names, on its own. Guys, this isn't just a ghost story. This place knows us." Caleb tried to laugh, but the sound came out hollow. "So what, we just don't go to room 6, right? We hide until morning?" But Maya shook her head. Her face was pale, her voice shaky but determined. "No. If it wants us in room 6, then maybe that's the way out. We follow the rules of the dare. We stay until midnight, then we leave." Ethan clenched his jaw. "You're insane. You saw those things in the hallway. You want us to walk straight into them?" Before Maya could answer, the fire alarm cut off abruptly. The silence that followed was worse, too complete, like the world itself had stopped. Then the PA system crackled to life. Dust fell from the ceiling as an old speaker hissed above them. A voice came through. Calm, stern. "All students report to detention, room 6, immediately." The group froze. "That," Jess whispered. "That was the principal. I read about him. He died in the fire." No one wanted to admit it, but they all knew now there was no hiding. Something wanted them in room 6, and until they went, they weren't leaving. The hallway leading to room 6 was worse than the rest of the school. Walls blackened with soot seemed to pulse, like they were still alive with heat. Burned motivational posters curled in the corners. As they walked, their phone flashlights flickered in and out, throwing shadows that looked too tall, too bent to be their own. When they reached the classroom door, it was already open. A faint orange glow flickered inside like firelight. "Don't go in there," Jess begged. Her eyes were wide, shimmering with tears. "It's a trap." But Maya, gripping Ethan's hand, stepped inside first. The others followed reluctantly. Room 6 was almost untouched. Unlike the rest of the school, it wasn't charred. Desks stood neatly in rows, chalkboard clean, papers stacked. It looked frozen in time, as if waiting for class to begin. On the chalkboard in fresh white letters was written, "Detention, Maya, Ethan, Jess, Caleb, Ryan." The door slammed shut behind them. Ryan spun, filming everything, his hands trembling. "We're screwed. We're actually screwed." Then the temperature plummeted. Frost crept along the windows, their breath visible. At the front of the room, the air shimmered, and a figure appeared. A man in a suit, hair slicked back, glasses cracked across one lens. His skin was blistered, burned into his collar. He looked every bit the stern principal, except for his eyes. They glowed faintly red, like embers. He slammed a charred ledger down on the teacher's desk. His voice was low, guttural. "Class is in session." The ghostly principal opened the burned ledger, his fingers blackened with ash. Each turn of the page echoed like a gunshot in the silent room. The students pressed against the back wall, their breath fogging in the icy air. Jess whispered, "He's marking us down, like attendance." Sure enough, the principal tapped his pen on the paper and spoke each of their names. Maya, Ethan, Jess, Caleb, Ryan. With each name, the lights above flickered and the floor creaked, like something heavy had stepped closer. Caleb's nerves finally broke. "Nope, I'm not staying." He lunged for the door, yanking at the handle, locked. He slammed his fist against it, screaming, "Let me out!" The principal didn't look up. He simply turned a page and said calmly, "Detention means you stay." And then, as if responding to his words, blackened hands burst from the floor around Caleb's ankles. Burned, skeletal fingers clawed into his skin, dragging him down. He shrieked, thrashing, clawing at the tiles. "Help me, don't just stand there!" Maya and Ethan grabbed his arms, yanking with all their strength. For a moment, they almost freed him, then the floor gave way beneath him like wet ash. With one final scream, Caleb was pulled into the darkness. The floor sealed shut, leaving only scorch marks. Jess collapsed to her knees, sobbing. "He's gone. Oh God, he's gone." Ryan kept filming, his voice shaking. We can't stay. We're next. We're all next." The principal finally looked up, his glowing eyes fixed on them. "Detention is punishment. You broke the rules. You trespassed." He slammed the ledger shut, and the desks in the room rattled violently. "Now you will burn as they did." Suddenly, the walls of room 6 erupted in flame. The fire spread quickly, licking across the ceiling, devouring desks. The group screamed, huddling together, but the heat didn't touch them. Instead, the flames twisted and bent, forming shapes, students. Burned students sitting silently at desks, their hollow eyes locked on the newcomers. Jess whispered, trembling, "They're the ones who died in the fire." The burned students all turned in unison toward the living. Their mouths opened, releasing a deafening roar of agony. Ryan dropped his phone, clutching his ears. The screen flickered, recording static and screams. Ethan grabbed Maya's hand, dragging her toward the windows. He smashed one with a chair, but behind the glass wasn't the night sky. It was fire. Endless fire. Jess stumbled back, shaking her head violently. "No way out. There's no way out." Then the principal's voice boomed over the chaos. "The bell will ring at midnight, and when it does, you'll join the rest of the class." The clock on the wall ticked forward, 11:57 p.m. The flames in room 6 twisted higher, but the heat still didn't burn them. It only suffocated, pressing against their lungs like smoke they couldn't escape. The burned students at the desks sat motionless, but their hollow eyes never blinked. The clock ticked louder, 11:58 p.m. Ryan scrambled for his phone on the floor. The screen glitched with static, but he noticed something horrifying in the recording. Behind them, in the footage, stood Caleb. His skin was charred, his jaw half gone, his eyes burned out. But Caleb was smiling. "Guys," Ryan stammered, "he's on my phone. He's already one of them." Jess grabbed his arm, panicked. "Don't look at it. Don't look." The principal's voice cut through the chaos. "No one leaves Ravenwood, not alive." He raised his burned hand, and the desks screeched across the floor, trapping the group in the center of the room. Ethan clenched his fists, stepping in front of Maya. "You want us? Then take me. Leave them alone." The principal tilted his head, the ember glow in his eyes intensifying. Brave, but pointless. Suddenly the floor cracked and burned arms shot upward, grabbing Ethan's legs. He roared in pain as the skin blistered instantly where they touched. Maya screamed, yanking at him, but more hands came, pulling, tearing, dragging him toward the floor. "Ethan," she shrieked, sobbing. With one last desperate surge, Ethan shoved Maya backward out of their reach. His final words tore through the smoke. "Run." Then he was gone, swallowed into the burning floor like Caleb. Maya collapsed, screaming, pounding the tiles until her fists bled. Jess pulled her up, crying, "We can't stop it. We'll all die if we stay." Ryan's voice cracked, almost manic. "No, there's a way. The bell. It only takes them when it rings at midnight, right? We just have to break it, destroy it." The three of them bolted into the hallway, the fire following them like a living thing. The burned students rose from their desks and began marching behind them, their hollow screams echoing down the corridor. They reached the gym again, where the scorched bell rope still hung from the ceiling. The air vibrated with its hum, though it hadn't yet tolled. Ryan grabbed a fallen metal pipe and swung at the rope. The bell above groaned, dust raining down. He swung again, harder, screaming with rage and terror. Jess prayed under her breath, clutching Maya's arm. "Please, please let this work." The bell shuddered violently as Ryan delivered one last blow. The rope snapped, the great bronze bell crashing to the gym floor with a deafening clang. For a moment, the fire flickered out, the screams stopped, silence returned. Maya's chest heaved, tears streaking her face. "We did it. We stopped it." But then, the cracked bell rang. Once, twice, and then it began tolling on its own. The sound was louder, deeper, shaking the entire school. Jess whispered in horror, "It's midnight." The bell's toll shook the gym like an earthquake. The bronze shell cracked wider with each strike, the sound echoing through every hallway of Ravenwood High. Maya clutched her ears, screaming, No, we broke it, we stopped it. But Jess's face drained of color. We didn't stop it, we released it. From the cracks in the bell poured smoke, thick, black, alive. It slithered across the floor like snakes, curling up their legs, choking their lungs. Out of the shadows stepped the burned students, dozens of them, their hollow eyes blazing like coals. Ryan swung the metal pipe wildly, screaming, Stay back! Stay the hell away! But the smoke wrapped around his throat, yanking him into the dark mass. His phone slipped from his hand, clattering across the floor, still recording as he was dragged away, his screams cut short. Jess and Maya bolted, their footsteps pounding through the collapsing halls. The school moaned like a dying beast, walls trembling, ceiling tiles falling. The fire alarm wailed again, deafening. Exit, Maya cried, pointing. The red glowing sign at the end of the hall flickered desperately, promising escape. They ran, hearts pounding, smoke clawing at their heels. They slammed against the double doors and burst outside. Cold night air hit their lungs. The school loomed behind them, fire glowing in its windows like eyes. Maya collapsed on the grass, sobbing, clutching Jess. We made it, oh God, we made it. Jess shook her head slowly. No, look. Maya followed her gaze and froze. They weren't outside. The doors they'd run through led back into room 6. The chalkboard still read their names. The clock on the wall ticked. 12:01 a.m. The principal stood at the front of the room, smiling now, his ember eyes burning brighter. Class dismissed. The desks behind them filled one by one with their friends. Caleb, Ethan, Ryan, all seated, silent, burned. Jess screamed, clinging to Maya. We never left. We never. Before she could finish, the floor erupted. Blackened hands dragged her down screaming, pulling her beneath the tiles, leaving Maya alone. Maya staggered back against the chalkboard, tears streaming, shaking her head. No, I won't join you, I won't. The principal tilted his head. Every student stays forever. The bell tolled one final time. Maya's scream was swallowed by the flames. Epilogue. Weeks later, a group of freshmen dared each other to enter Ravenwood High. One boy carried his phone, live streaming for his followers. As they pushed open the gym doors, the feed flickered. For a split second, the screen showed the gym full of burned students sitting silently at desks. At the front row sat Maya, her face blackened, her eyes hollow, but staring directly into the camera. The live stream cut to black.